13 R&B artists. And the co-stars they left behind sidelined, broke, or worse. Some of these names you already expect. A few are going to surprise you. And by the time we get to number 1, you might have to sit with that for a minute. Because the bigger the catalog, sometimes the darker the shadow behind it. Let's get into it. Number 13, DeVante Swing, Jodeci. Before Missy Elliott ruled the late 90s, before Timbaland changed what R&B even sounded like, before Genuine had every woman slow rolling their car windows down on a Friday night, all three of them were essentially unknown kids from Virginia, waiting on one man to give them a shot. That man was DeVante Swing of Jodeci, and for a minute, he was exactly what they needed. In the early 90s, DeVante founded Swing Mob, a collective he used to sign promising artists from across the East Coast. He moved them into a house in Rochester, New York, had them collaborating on Jodeci sessions, building their craft, learning the business from the inside. If you've ever had a mentor who genuinely believed in you before anyone else did, you know what that means. For Missy, Tim, and Genuine, DeVante Swing was the door. And then one day he walked through that door with his cousin, 2 bodyguards, and 2 pit bulls on a leash like he was Nino Brown, and started walking up to each of his artists and slapping them one by one. This isn't rumor. Producer Stevie J was in that Rochester studio. He told this story on Drink Champs in 2017. He watched DeVante hit Missy Elliott across the face. Hard, then Genuine, then Timbaland, and each of them just stood there. Because what do you do when the person who holds your entire career in his hands decides to show you exactly how little he thinks of you? Every freaking way, every freaking day. Stevie J was the only one who refused. Said he told DeVante's cousin, "You better not put your hands on me." It turned into a brawl. Stevie fighting DeVante's cousin, K-Si Hailey, and the bodyguard simultaneously. He still has a scar over his eye from the bottle someone hit him with. Those 3 artists, the ones who said nothing that day, Missy went on to become one of the most influential women in music history. Timbaland became one of the most sought-after producers alive. Genuine had a decade of hits and made Pony a permanent part of the American vocabulary. But what happened in that studio, that part never made it onto a press release. And whether it changes how you hear Freaking You, I'll leave that to you. Number 12, Bobby Womack.
If y'all don't mind, I'd like to talk about this woman of mine.
Bobby Womack grew up watching Sam Cooke from across the stage. Sam Cooke was the man, smooth, brilliant, the architect of a whole sound.
And you never find another man that'll treat you right.
And Bobby, this kid from Cleveland with a guitar that seemed too big for his hands, was Cooke's protege, his student, his band leader, his friend.
Oh, wait until now.
Cooke signed Bobby and his brothers to his own SAR Records, put them on tour, taught Bobby to use his voice, to write, to carry himself like a professional.
Like I wanna testify.
If you've ever had someone reach down and pull you up before you had any reason to expect it, you understand what that kind of loyalty means. Bobby Womack had every reason in the world to protect Sam Cooke's legacy. Sam Cooke was killed on December 11, 1964. 77 days later, Bobby Womack married his widow. Let that settle for a second. Cook had not been in the ground 3 months when Bobby showed up to the funeral wearing one of Sam's suits and driving Sam's car. And then, before the winter was even over, announced he was marrying Barbara Campbell, the woman Sam had built a family with. And here's where it gets worse. Sam's youngest daughter, Linda, was 11 years old when Bobby moved into that house. And 5 years later, 5 years, Barbara discovered that Bobby had been having an affair with her. Sam Cooke's daughter, the girl who was 11 when this man walked through the door, Barbara loaded a pistol, told Bobby to get out, fired a shot that grazed his scalp. They divorced in 1970. The industry's reaction in 1965 was immediate. Bobby was booed at concerts. Radio stations refused to play his records. Barbara's brother physically assaulted him. His own brothers cut ties. Even Sam Cooke's father spoke out publicly. For years, Bobby Womack's career was in free fall, not because of his talent, but because of what he did to the man who made him. He wrote a song in 1985 called I Wish He Didn't Trust Me So Much. The title says everything his mouth never quite could. Number 11, Charlie Wilson, The Gap Band. If you know the name Uncle Charlie today, that warm, soulful voice on Kanye records, on Snoop collaborations, beloved by a whole younger generation who might not even know where he came from, then what I'm about to tell you about Charlie Wilson into 1980s is going to feel like a different person entirely, because it basically was. The Gap Band, Charlie, Robert, and Ronnie Wilson. 3 brothers from Tulsa, Oklahoma, named for the streets they grew up on, Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. They built something rare. A family act with genuine chemistry, genuine talent, and genuine love for each other. Outstanding. You Dropped a Bomb on Me, Burn Rubber, songs that still hit like the first time. Every time. But in the mid to late 80s, Charlie developed a crack cocaine addiction that turned him into someone his brothers barely recognized. He missed shows. He disappeared before recording sessions. He showed up in states that made everyone in the room uncomfortable. Robert and Ronnie had to cover for him, make excuses, hold performances together, while their lead singer fell apart right in front of them. If you've ever watched someone you love, someone you built something with, become completely unreachable, you know there's no roadmap for that. You just hold on and keep going. By the early 90s, Charlie Wilson on the streets of Los Angeles, homeless. The man whose voice had headlined arenas was sleeping outside in Skid Row. His brothers never publicly destroyed him. They carried the weight quietly. That's a certain kind of loyalty, a kind you don't always get from blood. And then Charlie met a music therapist named Maheen, married her in 1995, got clean, came back, not to perform out of nostalgia, but because he genuinely still had something to say. Collaborations with Kanye, with Pharrell, with Justin Timberlake, sold out shows, 3 Grammy nominations after 50. The redemption is real. But those years he stole from his brothers, the shows they had to salvage, the embarrassments they had to absorb, the grief of watching someone you love disappear. That's real too. Some debts don't come with an invoice. Number 10, Pebbles Perry Reed. You probably know Pebbles as an artist. Girlfriend, Mercedes Boy, mid to late 80s R&B with a voice that could stop you mid-stride. Real talent, real hits. But there's another chapter to the Pebbles story that has nothing to do with her music and everything to do with what happened to TLC. Perry Pebbles reformed TLC in 1991. Chion, Lisa, Rosanda, three girls with enormous voices, enormous personalities, and absolutely no idea what they just signed. She signed them to her management company, Pebetone, and her then husband, L.A. Reid's label, LaFace Records. She built the concept, chose the aesthetic, put the machine in motion, and then the machine started printing money. Crazy Sexy Cool came out in 1994. Sold 11 million copies, spawned Waterfalls, No Scrubs, Creep, songs that defined a generation. You heard those songs at cookouts. You heard them at proms. You heard them late at night when something was breaking open inside you that you couldn't name yet. But here's what you probably don't know. TLC filed for bankruptcy in 1995, while Crazy Sexy Cool was still moving units. While they were performing on every major stage in America, they claimed they were paid just $50,000 each in 1993 and 1994, combined. And the name TLC, the name on every album, every t-shirt, every magazine cover belonged to Pebbles, not to the three women who lived it. TLC had to buy their own name back, $1 million per letter. At the 1996 Grammy Awards, after winning Best R&B Album, Chili stood at the microphone and said exactly what needed to be said. We've sold 10 million albums worldwide. We're as broke can be, Left Eye added. I hope we go down in history for being something more than just another famous act that got ripped off. Pebbles has denied the accusations and settled a $40 million defamation lawsuit against VH1 in 2020 without admitting wrongdoing. But those words from the Grammy stage, nobody erases those. And if you've ever seen someone's profit from your work while you fought just to keep the lights on, you don't need me to explain the rest. Number 9, En Vogue, Terry Ellis and Cindy Herron. En Vogue at their peak was something to behold. 4 voices, 4 personalities, harmonies that could make the hair on your arm stand up. Hold on, my lovin', never gonna get it. Don't let go. One of the tightest vocal groups in R&B history. And for a certain era, early 90s, when the culture was absolutely on fire, they were it. But behind those harmonies, there was a pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Running in and out my life has got me so. Dawn Robinson left in 1997. Said she was pushed out after fighting for equal treatment. The label supported Terry Ellis' solo project, but stonewalled hers. The group continued without her. Maxine Jones eventually left too. Then she and Dawn Robinson started their own version of En Vogue to tour under the name. Terry Ellis and Cindy Herron filed a lawsuit. It got ugly in the press. Maxine later said she never worked with those evil skanks again. Then she went back. Then there's Rona Bennett. She joined En Vogue in 2003, stayed for over 20 years, put in the rehearsals, hit every note. built a career around being part of this group. In late 2024, when En Vogue reunited for a major performance at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she wasn't there. Nobody called her, nobody told her why. She found out afterward, 22 years. And not even a phone call. Dawn Robinson, who knew Rona, responded publicly. They discard people like hand wipes, she said. En Vogue can't keep a member to save their lives. And then there's this. Dawn Robinson recently revealed she'd been living in her car since 2022. Financial hardship after decades in one of the best-selling female groups in American history. The music outlived the decency. Some of y'all who were at every En Vogue concert, who know every harmony on Funky Divas by heart, you've got feelings about this one. I know I do. Number 8, Casey Hailey Jodeci.
Know your name.
The first time Mary J. Blige and Casey Hailey's voices locked together, it felt like something inevitable.
Everybody put their hands together. Come on, there we go. Here we go.
She was recording What's the 411 in 1992, her debut album, the one that would eventually make her the queen of hip-hop soul. He was the lead singer of Jodeci, smooth and gospel-rooted and absolutely devastating when he opened his mouth. The song was I Don't Want to Do Anything. The chemistry was undeniable. And then they started dating. And for the next 12 years, Mary J. Blige's personal life became one of the worst kept secrets in the industry.
Talk to me, baby. Come and talk to me.
She has spoken about it herself in interviews. In her 2021 documentary, My Life, in the music she was writing throughout the 90s when the world heard her voice cracking in ways that went beyond performance.
Here we go.
Casey was physically and emotionally abusive. She said it plainly. There was a famous incident in London where they were on the same show, performing for the same audience, sharing the same professional space, and things turned violent backstage.
To me, I really wanna meet you, girl. I really wanna.
And if you ever heard Be Happy, really heard it, not just let it play in the background, you already knew there was something underneath that pleading. That wasn't a simple love song. That was someone asking out loud for basic human decency. Here's what gets me about this.
You look so sexy, you turn me on.
They kept working together because the industry does that. The music kept coming, the collaborations kept coming, and exploitation kept happening right alongside the melody. The professional and the personal were completely entangled, and everyone around them either looked away or didn't know what to do. Mary eventually found her way out, got sober, found solid ground, became one of the most respected women in music. That story has a real ending.
You know what? Here we go.
But those 12 years and the damage done while the music was playing, that's the part nobody puts on the greatest hits compilation.
I talk to you. I really wanna know you.
And if you've ever stayed somewhere you shouldn't have, longer than you should have, because you believed in what it was before it became what it was, you know that feeling without me describing it.
Here we go. Come on.
Number 7, Bobby Brown, New Edition. Bobby Brown, New Edition, Boston, Massachusetts, 1978. 5 kids from the housing projects who found harmony in a church gymnasium and turned it into one of the most influential groups in R&B history. Ricky Bell, Michael Bivins, Ronnie DeVoe, Ralph Tresvant, and Bobby Brown. Now, I'll tell you what the history books tell you first. Bobby was difficult. He started missing rehearsals, add explicit moves to the stage show that clashed with the group's image, used drugs. And during a 1985 concert, he threw a microphone directly at Michael Bivins. In December of that year, the group, under significant pressure from MCA Records and their management, voted him out. But stay with me on this one. Because Michael Bivins, the same man who voted Bobby out, said it plainly in 2023, it was kind of wrong for us to do it. Not wrong because Bobby wasn't difficult, he was, but wrong because they were kids. Teenagers who didn't know how to handle what was happening to one of their own. Kids who were told by adults with financial interest to cut the problem instead of addressing it. And Bobby, whatever his behavior cost the group, had been there from the beginning, had been part of building something real. He went solo and had massive success. Don't be cruel, my prerogative, every little step. But the wound was there. When New Edition reunited for Home again in 1996, the tour collapsed mid-run when Bobby and Bivins quit. The tension hadn't gone anywhere. It had just been sitting in a room waiting. Bobby Brown lost something when he left New Edition, but New Edition lost something when they threw him out. And the way it was done, announced without warning, replaced without conversation, that's a pattern that shows up again and again in this music. Some of y'all grew up with New Edition as your group, the one you know every harmony to. And I want to know, did you know all of this was happening behind those songs? Drop it in the comments. Number 6, Chris Brown. Chris Brown came into this industry at 16 years old. Run It in 2005. And honestly, you couldn't argue with the talent. The voice was real. The dancing was real. The charisma was undeniable. But from the very beginning, there was a gap between the person on stage and the person people were working alongside. And over time, that gap got harder to ignore. You know the biggest headline. February 2009, the night before the Grammy Awards. Rihanna, his then girlfriend and one of the biggest artists in the world, was assaulted in a car. Brown pled guilty to a felony assault charge. That story you already know. But here's what might be new to you. In 2017, a backup dancer named Danielle Griffin was hired to perform in one of Brown's music videos. On set, a wardrobe and makeup artist poured fake liquid blood over her head without eye protection, without proper handling procedures. The substance caused serious damage to both her eyes. She had to visit 3 different hospitals within 24 hours. She spent months recovering indoors, dropped out of her master's degree program, lost job opportunities she'll never get back. And through all of that, Brown's team provided no assistance, nothing. She filed a lawsuit. A court ordered him to pay roughly $15,000 in damages, an amount that, to be clear, is less than most of us pay in annual rent. Brown's ex-manager also sued him, alleging Brown physically assaulted him. Here's what stays with me about the Danielle Griffin story specifically. She wasn't famous. She wasn't a co-headliner. She was a working dancer who showed up to a professional set and trusted that the people around her would do their job safely. That's all she asked. and she paid for it with months of her life and both of her eyes.
Just me. It's like that.
You don't need a pattern to be a pattern. But when something keeps happening in the same professional space around the same person at some point, and I'll let you decide when that point is, it stops being coincidence. Number 5, Mariah Carey.
I never should have let you go. I didn't know nothing. I was stupid. I was foolish.
Look, Mariah Carey is one of the greatest vocalists who ever lived.
By myself, cause I didn't know you, cause I didn't know me, but I thought I knew everything.
18 number 1 singles. A 5-octave range that doesn't seem physically possible when you're standing in the room. She built a career that should have been impossible and made it look effortless.
I gotta change the station, so I turn the dial, trying to catch up.
And she has spent 30 plus years making the people around her feel completely disposable. I'm not talking about demanding a specific temperature backstage or white roses in the dressing room. Artists have preferences, that's real. I'm talking about the pattern of lawsuits from the people who worked closest to her. The ones who gave years of their lives to keeping her world running.
When you are on my mind, Bobby Womack's on the radio.
Former assistant Ilsa Oliver worked 16-hour days for 7 years and sued Carey for unpaid overtime, claiming she was never given meal breaks. Former executive assistant Liana Shakhnazarian sued for wrongful termination. Former manager Stella Boloknikov sued for sexual harassment and breach of contract. A former nanny sued for underpayment and emotional distress after being fired without proper compensation. Multiple cases, multiple people. A consistent story told from multiple different angles, and when she had a cameo in Will Ferrell's 2017 film The House, she was reportedly 4 hours late to set, hated her lines, demanded the song be changed, and was ultimately removed from the project. The production company reportedly requires all staff to not speak to her directly. Her assistants reportedly cannot date in their first-year employment. An insider at one recent show described the instructions simply:
Take your place, there ain't nobody there. Oh, baby, baby, we belong.
When it comes to Mariah, she is the boss. Here's the thing about genius and cruelty existing in the same person.
Who's gonna take your place? There ain't nobody there. Oh, baby.
They can, and they often do. The part of this that's hard is that the public largely laughs at diva behavior as though it's charming, as though the lawsuits and the unpaid staff and the drop projects are all just part of the mythology.
By myself, cause I didn't know you, cause I didn't know me, but I thought I knew everything.
But the people on the wrong side of that mythology, they're not laughing.
But I wouldn't get to have you lying by my side right here.
Number 4, Beyonce, Destiny's Child. I know this one is going to get some reactions in the comments. So let me be clear about what I'm saying and what I'm not saying.
Say my name, say my name.
Beyonce is one of the most talented performers who has ever stepped onto a stage. That's not up for debate here. What is worth talking about is what happened to LaToya Luckett and Latavia Roberson in the year 2000.
I've been caught up in your game when you cannot say my name.
Let me take you back. Destiny's Child was originally 4 members: Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Latavia Roberson, and LaToya Luckett. They grew up together, started rehearsing as children, some as young as 9 years old. They were real friends, real partners in something they'd been building since before most of them were old enough to drive. They had hits. No, bills, bills, bills. They were on their way. And then Latavia and LaToya decided they wanted a different manager. Specifically, they didn't want Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, managing them anymore. They alleged financial mismanagement and asked for independent representation. The response came without a phone call, without a conversation, without any direct acknowledgement that they existed.
Why can't you just tell the truth? Somebody said, tell me who.
They found out they were no longer in Destiny's Child when the music video for Say My Name dropped, and two new faces were standing where they used to stand. I didn't quit the group, Latavia has said repeatedly for years. Did it hurt? Absolutely, because we were friends. I went to school with these girls.
Hard to believe that you are at home by yourself. I just heard the voice.
Then Destiny's Child released Survivor 2001. Luckett and Roberson filed a lawsuit claiming the song was a direct diss at them. Lyrics like, "You thought I wouldn't sell without you," sold 9 million.
I know the words. Sing it. Come on.
The case settled in 2002 with all parties charged with breach of contract. 2 women were removed from something they helped build, found out about it through a music video, and then had a song written about them. Whether you call it a business decision or a betrayal probably depends on whether you've ever been on Latavia's side of that phone call. And if you have, you know. Number 3, R. Kelly. R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly, Step in the Name of Love, a voice that could take a congregation somewhere else, and a catalog that sold more than 60 million records worldwide. And behind all of it, a system exploitation built specifically around the people who worked closest to him. Backup dancer DeVante Cunningham met Kelly when she was 14 years old.
But first, I know.
She testified in the 2019 documentary Surviving R. Kelly that she witnessed Kelly's sexual relationship with 15-year-old Aaliyah while touring together in the early 90s. Another backup dancer who testified under the name Angela at Kelly's 2021 federal trial said she witnessed Kelly sexually abusing Aaliyah during that same tour when Aaliyah was 13 or 14. Aaliyah was a young artist Kelly had signed and produced. He had made her career in a very real sense. Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, her debut album, his production, came out in 1994.
But now I know the meaning.
The two were allegedly secretly and illegally married that same year when Aaliyah was 15. Kelly was 27. The people around him were not incidental. They were the mechanism. Backup singers who detailed abuse, dancers who described isolation, assistants who were threatened. Former assistant Cheryl Mack testified that Kelly warned her directly. Generally around these situations, people come up missing. In September 2021, R. Kelly was convicted on all counts: racketeering, sex trafficking, and multiple counts of sexual abuse. He was sentenced in 2022 to 30 years in federal prison. 30 years! The women who came forward, many of whom were part of his professional world, who trusted that working for him meant a career and not a trap. They carried that story for decades before anyone with power listened. That's its own kind of damage, and it belongs on this list exactly where it is. Number 2, Diana Ross, the Supreme. Florence Ballard was the one who started it, not Diana Ross. Florence. She and Mary Wilson and Diana Ross grew up together in Detroit's Brewster housing projects. They formed the Primettes as teenagers. Florence was the one who sang lead. Florence was the one who got them their audition at Motown. Florence was the beating heart of what eventually became the Supremes. And then Berry Gordy started dating Diana Ross, and everything changed. It was subtle at first, Gordy redirecting the spotlight. Diana's name moved to the front, Diana Ross and the Supremes. Gordy criticizing Florence in rehearsals. Flo, you're not at the mic. Flo, you're overweight. The kind of constant, low-grade erosion that wears a person down without leaving any single mark you can point to. By 1967, Florence Ballard, the founding member, the original voice, the woman without whom there would be no Supremes, was escorted out of the group. It happened backstage at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Berry Gordy took her aside before the show. She later recalled exactly what he said. He told me, "If you go on stage, I'll throw you off." Cindy Birdsong was already dressed in her clothes. Florence was 24 years old. Motown's offer was $2,500 a year for 6 years. A Motown VP then told her she had, quote, "no right to say I was ever a Supreme." She tried a solo career. It didn't work. She drank. She fell into depression. She filed lawsuits that went nowhere. The woman who had sung on 16 top 40 singles, 10 of them #1 hits, was eventually on welfare, a mother of 3. Florence Ballard died of a heart attack in February 1976. She was 32 years old. At her funeral, Diana Ross arrived in black sable fur, flanked by bodyguards, sweeping down the center aisle of the church with what witnesses describe as a theatrical entrance. 5,000 people were there. Some booed. Florence was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988, 12 years after she died broke. #1, James Brown.
So good, I got you. Wow.
This is the one that still gets to me.
So nice.
James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, the hardest working man in show business. The man who invented funk, who influenced every major artist that came after him, who performed until his body literally could not go on.
That I can't do no wrong. And when I hold you in.
There is no one who gave more to this music, and there is almost no one who took more from the people around him. Let's start with the fine.
But I got you. So good.
You've maybe heard about this in passing, that James Brown would fine his band members for mistakes. You picture a stern employer.
I feel good.
$50 here, $100 there. A way of keeping a tight ship. But Bootsy Collins, who played bass on Sex Machine, said it plainly. He fined me $50 and fired me, even though I didn't mess up.
I wouldn't. So good.
Bobby Bird remembered the fines at the Apollo in 1962 going up to $100 per miscue during the recording of a live album, while performing, being judged, and watching their paycheck disappear note by note. But here's the story that really stays with me.
I feel good. I knew that I would.
Bobby Bird founded the famous Flames, not James Brown. Bobby Bird. He started that group in 1952.
My love can't do me no harm, and I feel.
He visited a youth detention facility in Toccoa, Georgia, saw a teenage James Brown singing in a prison choir, and had his family sponsor Brown's parole so he could come home with them. Bobby Bird gave James Brown his first breath of free air. Brown took over as the frontman, renamed the group, dominated the group. And when Bird tried to have a solo career of his own in the 70s, when he started getting some shine for himself, Brown reportedly called radio stations and demanded they play his records instead of Bird's. He felt threatened by the man whose family had pulled him out of prison, threatened by the person who's handed him everything.
So good, I got you.
Bobby Bird spent decades working in James Brown's shadow, performing in his review, writing with him, building something together.
When I hold you in my arms.
And at the time of Brown's death on Christmas Day 2006, Bobby Bird, who would die himself just 9 months later, was still suing him for unpaid royalty.
Know that I can't do no wrong. And when I hold you in
The man who gave James Brown his first chance died still waiting to be paid for it. The hardest working man in show business, the Godfather of Soul.
but I got you. So good.
And the man who built his entire kingdom on the backs of people who gave him everything and made sure they never saw what it was worth.